Good morning. Uh, uh, the other day I was talking about how much frustration it must cause and does cause. Actually, it's not how much it causes, how much it must cause it, how much it does cause. That when your objective reality does not match your subjective reality, and we have such a difference between them, that it's the cause of much frustration in the form of like it can result in depression, anxiety, stress, several um, disturbances, you know what I mean? So I thought we'd look at that further and we'd think about that further. Um, two things. One thing that comes to mind is Guns N' Roses. Two of the best albums I think were ever written. I think, like people talk about lyrical geniuses and all the rest. I personally thought Axl Rose was a lyrical genius. I thought Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 were the two of the best albums that were ever recorded. And I often thought about this, Lose Your Illusions. And so lose your illusion, use your illusion is what I always say. Lose your illusion, use your illusion. And I was only talking to a girl the other day, and we were talking about the importance of developing a child's imagination and how this is more important than intelligence. Because if they can imagine, they can create. Because you can't create shit if you can't imagine. Like if you can't see it, you can't create it. I mean, I remember I had used to have several concepts for different businesses, and initially like reality did not match my expectations. And whereas this was frustration to a point, I was the sort of person who did not relent until such time as it did, because I used to say it'll be as I see it, it'll be as I see it. And most of the time I stayed striving towards that concept until the construct did match my concept. But this let's not go too far. We can talk about that again. Let's just keep to, because like it would be very easy then to say to people, oh, you're delusional. Oh, no, you're delusional. And maybe we're all delusional because we all have as reality is a personal perspective, maybe we all have a subjective reality that and have to share an objective reality. Do you know what I mean? So we have to share an objective reality, even though the subjective reality is completely personal perspective. As Marcus Aurelius said, life is perception, life is opinion, and this is very true. But then at the same time, like the whole point of Stoicism, like, is that you try to see it as is. You try to get an alignment between the subjective and the objective. So you try to respond. If you want to choose your best response in every eventuality, what you have to try and do is you have to try and get the subjective and the objective to align. And this is why you say to yourself, well, what is it? What is it? What is it? And you're constantly asking yourself, yeah, what's real? We could say what's real, but this is uh, one of the things about being mad. I mean, like Carl Jung said, embrace the madness, and it's the madness then that brings you that brings you to philosophy. And because philosophy then is where in you're seeking the truth. Now you're not seeking the truth to try and indoctrinate anybody or try to um well, some people are. Some people are. Some people, yeah, some people do. Like you take Peterson. Like I spent yesterday asking myself, what is delusion? What is delusion? Like are we all delusional? And yeah, to some degree, it's like I said to a girl one time, that ignorance is the greatest oppressor of virtue, and she said we're all ignorant in some regard. And I said, oh, that's very true. We're all ignorant in some regard. It's how fucking true. And in the same manner, we're all delusional in some regard. Like, I asked myself, is Jordan Peterson delusional? And I say, yes, Jordan Peterson is delusional. But he, like me then, is trying to make his objective reality match his subjective reality. And he's going quite well in this. Like, he's going quite well in this. Well, obviously, he's going quite well in this. But he's not doing anything any different to what the Christians have always done. in other words, create more customers and more following by use of the different of similar but different techniques. Like the Christians would have said, like, you know what I mean, they would have led their crusade against masturbation and homosexuality and everything else. And of course, then any important pure thoughts, my child, it's you need more spiritual guidance. You need some more spiritual guidance. Now he's very much the same. Uh, um, he creates a subjective reality, and then when objective reality does that matches your subjective reality, oh, you need some treatment. You need some treatment. Did you read my book? Did you read my book? The same as Dr. Grease. Oh yes, yes. Maybe I should follow this exercise from my book. I'll tell you what you do with your book. But and therefore, when they assert themselves in an authority on the subject, as then we are an authority on the subject, and therefore we authorize ourselves to create the objective reality, and it has to align with our subjective reality. But the fact is that he's a Christian now. I'm not going to go. This is my second attempt at this video, and my first attempt was challenged, so I had to delete. But okay, the first thing I'm going to say about Christianity, which he espouses, he's a Christian, is I will say with confidence that the construct does not match the concept. So that if the construct does not match the concept, then in my opinion, you're delusional. You are delusional. Now his construct, the construct does not match his concept. His construct does not match his concept, which therefore he is delusional. For example, like, I don't want to be cruel about it, but for example, like, he had a concept of how you treat addiction, but yet when he was addicted, he didn't apply his own concept. He went off to a hospital in Russia. So is this his did he adjust his concept to match his construct and stop with his delusional bullshit? In other words, like switch your perspective, switch. Like, this is a fucking concept that does not match the construct, and what you need is more empirical knowledge or more experience. And then when you have this experience, do you adjust your concept? No, you continue to delude people in a false concept, a monetized concept that is far removed from reality. Now we could talk about that further, but I want to move on from this, and we want to talk about delusion and what is delusion. So basically, then you have to start asking yourself, well, what is? Now this means being brutally honest with yourself in a lot of situations. Like, for example, like, let's just scratch the surface of this, because this is quite a deep subject. I remember a girl sitting. I went for a drink with a girl, Vietnamese girl, and she was telling me, she was big into dance, and she was telling me like that, she wasn't too impressed because she was after doing a dance exam, and they knocked her back when she knows she's good, but they said she wasn't good enough, and she failed her exam in contemporary dance. And I says, Jesus, like, and are you any good, like? And she says, oh, I'm the best. And I said, sure, can I see your dancing? Maybe you could show me your dancing. You know what I mean? Can I see your dancing? Now, I used to look at an awful lot. I'm not a choreographer, I'm not a dancer, or I'm not anything else, but it's like I always used to say, you don't have to be a good singer to know a good song. Like I don't know, like maybe, like, there's no accounting for taste, but I would like to say, like, that we can't, that I know harmony and I know dissonance. But then again, maybe this is a personal perception, because the other day, like, someone was playing some jungle music, and I said to myself, well, to this person this is harmony, but to me this was tearing the two ears out of me. This was whoa. And it's not only me, because in the cafes in Amsterdam, they play jungle music in order to run the people out, so people don't sit and fucking relax in the ambience, taking up their space. They want the customers to stay moving out so they can move around the weed. But anyway, harmony and dissonance, another personal perspective anyway. Even though there is we could maybe agree universally, like we could say Beethoven's Ode to Joy, maybe this is a universal. We could agree on a universal concept that this is harmony, because well, maybe this could be a universal concept of harmony, of harmony, as in there's a universal concept of beauty, but this is getting to aesthetics. But anyway, maybe you get my point. Universal concepts. So I looked at this, and now, and I'm no big uh, choreographer, but I could look at this. Now I've looked at a lot of this program, So You Think You Can Dance. I used to love this program, So You Think You Can Dance. I fucking love dance. I love song. I love art. I love I love the creative thing, Dionysus. But I looked at this and I said, I don't know about you being the best now. And I was just about to shatter her delusions when I was interrupted in this, and I was obstructed in shattering delusions. I won't go into how, but I was. Now, but basically, I'm very much of the opinion that it's not in anybody's interest to support their delusions. You're not doing them any favours, you're not doing anyone else any favours in supporting their delusions. So I'm the first man to come along with my hammer and it's done to me. It's done to me. The universe does this to me, and what could I say? Only thanks. Well, my soul did this to me, but what could I say? Only thanks. You know what I mean? It benefited me greatly to have my delusions smashed, because this brings me back to seeing it as is, and I had to question these delusions and have them smashed, and they were smashed. I'm telling you. And it, because it wasn't doing me any favour, it was the cause of much frustration and everything else, when there was a complete misalignment in the objective and the subjective. And I was about to do this for her, but as I say, I was obstructed in this. But then I could say to myself, well, everything is relative. And now we're back to this thing of don't compete with anybody, only yourself. Don't compete with anybody, only yourself. Now, this is where the delusions came from. So everything is relative. So, yes, okay, she wasn't the best, and I didn't think her dancing was very good relative to what I saw. And the fluidity, like in contemporary dance, fluidity of movement, how fluid is your movement. Like she might have thought she was as graceful as a swan, but she was, relative to the artist that I was wanting to compare her to, she was as graceful as an elephant. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything is relative, but she thought she was, but obviously there must have been others in the class, but she was, in my opinion, completely delusional in this regard, that she thought she was the best, and this was the cause of much frustration, in that she could not understand how they did not see this. And not only that, but she wanted them to agree that how can you not see that I'm the best? You know what I mean? Your subjective reality doesn't align with mine, and now we have a fucking problem. No, she had the problem. They didn't have any problem. She had the problem, and it was for her to question her reality, because this is where we start getting into the universally agreed concepts, and trying to force your conception of reality on universally agreed concepts, like because there's so many variables. What would make a good dancer? What would make a good dancer? Well, as Wittgenstein said, we're limited by language in our ability to express our reality. So therefore we have vision, we have video, we have comparison. So I won't try and explain it, but can I just show you this video? And then we have relativity. You understand what I'm saying? So basically, anyway, that was one thing. Now, for example, if I was to sing you a song, and I'm of the opinion, like I asked someone to sing for me the other day, somebody expressed how great they were at the singing and everything else. I said, sing me a song. And I tell you, it wasn't only me, there was a few of us sitting there, and they sang a song, and they insisted on singing the whole song. And it was hard in the ears, and I was hard in the ears. And then they said, well, did you enjoy that? I said, no. Because now Now, the other girl that was sitting there was just about to blow smoke up their arse and say how wonderful. I know she was. Because this is modern society. You don't offend anybody. You don't piss anybody off. You tell them what they want to hear. You blow smoke up their fucking hole. So she was just about to accommodate them in their delusion and say, oh, yeah, that was wonderful. And I said, no, I didn't. And she just started laughing. And the other girl started laughing. Like she couldn't believe that I had been so abrupt and cruel, if you like. I may go,